Hello everybody and welcome to this tournament video for the playthrough for Master Division for the upcoming tournament. This video is with variable wins and I will go through all the holes that we are going to play. If you do want to follow along in a better way, you follow the info box on the right hand side for club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, but also what ball and club I suggest you to play with. Have in mind, you don't have to follow that if you don't want to, but I always have a plan with my suggestions. Now, let's enjoy the video and go to hole number 1. Alright, so here we do have option number 1, send it, and here we advise not to play this shot if you haven't checked the wind angle. And how do you check the wind angle? And that you do after being pulling 10 rings with Apocalypse level 8, 9.2 rings with a POC 7 or 8.5 rings for a POC 5 and 6. I would strongly advise you to not play this shot if you, after your wind angle check, have a plus yardage that is 24 or above. And the reason for that is then you have too much crosswind and you risk to not reach to the fairway pad, and that would be an automatic drop into the water. But if you do have the wind angle correct, or you just want to gamble and you don't really care, then you play 4.5 bar topspin, 1 right spin. And what's going to happen is that depending on where you reach on the fairway pad, look how close that is. It was just at the beginning of that fairway pad, but it's either going to bounce you over the rough and land you nicely on green, or it's going to be clipping the rough, rolling out, so you do have a wedge. So it's a very risky shot that you're taking, but obviously the reward could be massive. But I would once again strongly advise you to do that wind angle shot by doing those ring pulls. So for an example, let's say I have Apocalypse level 8, I should be checking my plus yard off the 10 ring pull. And let's say that I should be adjusting 16 rings for my wind. Then I pull 10 rings, I take a pause, and then I check my plus yardage, then I pull the rest of the 6. So that's how you do it, and that's, in my opinion, the only way to be 100% knowing if you're gonna reach to the pad or not. Otherwise, it's gonna be a gamble, and you're gonna make it sometimes, and you're not gonna make it sometimes. For the EB school on the second shot, we are either going to play with no topspin, or like no spin at all, or we are going to play with max topspin play. This is a replay glitch, that's why it only shows +2, but it's still the same type of distance here. I judge this slider to be 55%, that's what I'm playing as well. And you can see here now that I'm having the ball guideline just slightly through the hole. I would definitely make sure that I'm looking at it from the side, so I'm not aiming on the right side of the pin, which is very easy to do in that situation. So in this instance, when it comes to the max topspin rule, I play EB school minus 30% P4. If I would be playing no spin, then I would be playing plus 25% P5 as EB school. My pull was very messy, and I definitely didn't get the correct amount of rings. That's why a great left there is actually going dead center. But with the max topspin play, we shouldn't have any issue getting that one to drop with greats. For hole 1, option 1, the layup, we're gonna have a send it to, want to be perfectly clear with that. 3 topspin, 3 left spin from NMT with power 2 ball with our Apocalypse. Can't be simpler than that. Adjust is max plus 10 P3. And once we have done that, we're going to add 1 ball of left curl. Try to be perfect, and here you don't have to play precision. You can play with any ball that do have wind 5 or wind 4 with power 2 plus. So it's just important that you open up with a power 2 ball at NMT. Then you can swap after that. 370 yards, the drive has been very consistent to that. This shot has been tested for Thorn and Falcon, just to give everyone a way to play with their favorite club. Pin check +2. We're gonna play with no spin. Again, simple consistency is the key. So you see no spin, we're leaving the tip of the ball guideline approximately half a green square short of pin. And now we're going to use a 62% slider with a 10% elevation, P2 numbers from +3. So plus 3 is that, and we're adding or subtracting 0.1 from there. And we're gonna do the same thing with Falcon as we do with Thorn. The difference between Falcon and Thorn is that with Falcon 7 we're going to have to add 4% slider this, as it has 2 yards lesser power. Everything obviously like that is instructed. So here we do have a nice little eagle to start with on hole number 1. So for hole number 2, this is a money shot in my opinion. I start with a Marlin to find the one right spin easier and be in complete minimum distance. And we move up to Sniper, and we have the Grizzly pack to find min line in a very easy way. 6.5 backspin, 1 right spin, and we are aiming with the tip of the ball guideline in the center of the dark green square that is to the right of the pin. We're looking for a straight pull favoring 12-1 if anything. And this angle is going to be classified as the yellow angle here, which is no curl or no adding or subtracting there either. Center the ball and hit perfect, and this is going to be an extremely good chance of dropping and holding 1. If we do have a little bit more tailwind, we would have to use a little bit of left curl, and the only thing that I could see as a risk is that if you aren't centering the ball properly and are using overpower, you could, if once again being very unlucky, clip the first rough. But to be completely honest, we do have a lot of room, and we need to make sure to at least center the ball fairly properly. Otherwise, we're gonna have to blame ourselves. Hole number 2, hole in 1, money shot. Get the guides on patreon.com/golfclashtom. On the drive here on hole number 9, we're gonna use this tailwind to bounce over the water and the sand and the rough to get ourselves into tsunami position. We're going to play with a 7.7 topspin and 1 right spin, which is max with extra mile. However though, we start with a P8 ball and NMT with our Apocalypse, then we adjust before we set the spins. Max plus 20 P0. Now we do have the chance to then swap to the extra mile to set the spins if we would like, or we don't. The reason I'm not using max topspin here is that I do want to avoid a glitch roll, so therefore I want to land at the beginning of the fairway, in that case we would not do good if we would be having all the topspin. 0.75 ball of right curl is max overpower with a slower needle. You can swap to a ball with less power than 8 after you have made your adjustment as well. On the second shot, we are using our Tsunami. We're setting 0.2 left spin and max backspin. We are then going to look to have the second bounce position in the corner of the green squares. It's going to be around 1 green square left of the pin and 1 green square short. Adjust is going to be 80% slider plus a 30% elevation, P10 numbers, and we are doing that from plus 3 and plus 4. Circle break under power, and has to be said as well that adjustment that I listed was for Tsunami 8, Tsunami 5 and 6 and also 7 does a slightly different, so make sure to read the slide and give yourself the correct numbers. For hole number 8 of the Namhae Cliffs, this is in my opinion, a very interesting par 3. So you can play a rough bump, you can play a bounce on the fairway. The benefit from going for a rough bump is because it has a massive funnel from there. However though, it's not without the risk. If you're hitting the rough too far up, you may risk going a glitch roll all over the green. So it's definitely a risk versus reward type of shot doing the rough bump. I'm adjusting here in this video 1-to-1. We need to adjust a little bit more. That's why I'm landing a little bit too far left in the rough with my first bounce. If you do play bouncing on the fairway, I would recommend to use a decent chunk of backspin because the glitches are more common when it comes to bouncing on the fairway, especially if you are misreading the ball guide line. Again, need a little bit more adjust, we land too far, too close to the bunker, but this video is just for display if you want to play Namhae Cliffs hole number 8. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel here and turn on the notifications. And for those of you who do want to take your game to the next level, then you subscribe to our patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link in the description down below. That is for our ultimate tournament text guide. We are doing that for Master Division for this week's 9-hole cup, but do not miss out. We're doing loads of quick 9 guides as well for the month of May, so make sure to subscribe to our platform from there as well. Patreon.com/GCT Quick 9. Scan the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description down below. So for hole number 5, we're going to use a ball that gives us a wind preferably between 8.5 to 9.5 miles per hour. And we're going to use 4 left spin and 3 top spin, half of the transparent ring inside the rough. And then we are going to adjust max plus 10 P3. Apocalypse level 7. And level 6 is going to, Apocalypse level 5, 6, and 7 is still going to do the same type of adjust. The only difference there is that we're going to have to go with half a ring extra movement to the left with Apocalypse level 5. And the reason for that is the lesser curl it does have on that club. The goal is to get the ball to the green area, and even if the rough stands very close there, it's a very forgiving rough. Otherwise, we would have played it further back. For those of you that do not want to flirt with the hazard there by the green, could reduce and play 2.5 bar topspin instead, and aim for clipping the rough with the first bounce and roll out for a wedge to be around 75%. You will notice both of them, both of the wedges in the recordings that we do have. One other thing, when it comes to having higher wind, if you still want to keep the Kingslayer, if you have wind between 9.5 and 10 miles per hour, you push up half a ring after the adjustment. If you do have a wind that is above 10 miles per hour, you push up 1 ring after the adjustment to compensate for adjusting down the cliff. But the easiest way is to switch to a wind 5, side spin 4, P3 ball. So if being very close to the green, I would say that this is going to be better to play with no top spin here, as the green is very glitchy, and that's not something we do want to play into, because that would risk us missing. And so we avoid that. We play a regular EB school plus 20 elevation P3 numbers, and here I play this one 35% slider. Aiming at the hole, once again, no spin is being played. Making the adjustment and then hitting perfect. And then this ball is going to drop. And make sure to take a look at the other wedge video that we do have. If you do clip the rough, and then so for the longer wedge here, and that is if you do clip the rough, on with the drive and roll out, then you do have around a 75 to 80% wedge. Here I play 80% slider plus 20% elevation, P3 numbers, and no spin. I wouldn't recommend the max top spin due to glitchy spots on the green, and so we're playing this one no spin. But again, this is only if we clip the rough. We are most likely not going to clip the rough and roll out, but it's good to have as a backup. And also if you do decide to do less top spin, to not risk going into the bunker or something like that. So that's something that is worth to have in mind. Perfect ball, and this is gonna go in, and that's nice to end up here with an eagle. Get the guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Hole number 6, and we're going to play this for an eagle. We will have an outside chance for an albatross, but I'm not going to waste any of the good balls here, because it's going to be such a rare one to drop. NMT, start with a P4 ball and switch to a Luminary. I would say for those of you that do play with Apocalypse level 6 or 5, should be playing with an Albatross ball with topspin boost, or you're going to have to play with a ball with less wind, which is a wind 4 or even a wind 5 for Apoc 5 users. Max distance plus 10, and then we go half a ball of curl, trying to hit perfect. The goal is to get to 385 or more. A great left will be worse because then we are further away from the green. Once again, everyone, you can play with a ball with more wind resistance if you do want to spend that type of ball, but I feel there is no necessity to do so here because this Alba chance will still not be it's still not going to be a shot that's going to drop, even if we have the perfect drive and a perfect execution on the second shot. It's still going to have a lot of factors involved, but obviously we will do our best suggestion to the guide to make sure that all Apoc 5 up to Apoc 8 can get into decent range. So when it comes to the second shot, we're looking for the sticky spot, which is on the right side here. Move around, you can see where when the tip of the ball guideline is barely not moving left or right, that's the spot. And then we're going to apply whatever spins needed. So we have 1 green square past the pin and 2 green squares left of the pin. Unfortunately now we do have a problem with me having that great left, which puts me to get into overpower, which is not good, but it's still going to be super duper safe to get ourselves the eagle. Adjustment here is from plus 4. I played 70% slider plus 20% P5, and then I'm adding and subtracting from there. And now it becomes messy as I go into overpower. I'm going to have to use overpower, and that becomes the miss to the right. Great right has been tested. That wasn't in the rough, and the great left obviously is super safe. If there is no interest in even going for the Albatross, then you can get yourself to a spot more left, give yourself miles of room on the right and on the left, and just take the eagle and be done with it. This is unfortunately a very boring win on otherwise a very fun hole if we do have a tailwind. Get the guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Hole number 4, very difficult headwind here for those that want to play with a free-to-play ball. We're going to play with a Luminary here. QB at P2 NMT, swap to Apoc / extra mile / thorn. So what that means is Apoc thorn bag or extra mile and thorn bag. Max top spin, regardless if it's extra mile or Apocalypse. After that, just max plus 20 P0 for Apocalypse of 8. We're not going to push up anything. For Apocalypse of 7, we're pushing up 0.3 rings. For extra mile, we're pushing up 0.8 rings. Bounce on the fairway, and we're going to slide out to hopefully around 360 to 370 yards. On the second shot, we are doing a pin check with our bullseye. So we do have here plus 7. We're going to use plus 5 and plus 6 as our base. We are going in the ring to be where the fringe meets the fairway. Second bounce in the center of the dark green square row. Then we will apply whatever spins needed to get the ball guideline roughly half a green square through the hole. If you're not satisfied with the ball guideline, make sure to correct to get it to the way you like. Adjust is going to be 62% slider plus 30% elevation, and we do P10 numbers, and we do that from plus 5 and plus 6. So here we are adding plus 0.1. Center ball and hit perfect, and even with a very strong wind, we are definitely attacking the pin for the eagle. For hole number 8 here, we're gonna start with a power 4 ball in complete minimum distance. I would recommend to start with a 4th anniversary ball or with any other or like the open ball to find both the spins and the landing spot the quickest way possible. We're looking to have 1 right spin and 3 back spin, and the tip of the ball guideline to fall down 1/3 into the bright green square row. Here we're looking to go with a 1201 in terms of pull angle, like a small 1201 is what we are looking for here. And this angle here is going to be called for no curl. No curl in this angle, center the ball, hit perfect, and we're going to actually have a better chance to drop this one than I expected from the beginning playing this shot, because I actually dropped this one a decent amount in practice to then obviously miss live when it counted. So there we do have hole number 8. Nice simple setup. Hole number 8 should never be a par 3 you should be expecting to drop, but with this shot you definitely have a good chance. Get the guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. So on the drive here, we are using the red ring by the rough line in complete max with Apocalypse level 8. And then we have 20% of the red ring overlapping the rough line to the left. And then we do have half of the red ring overlapping with Apoc 5 and 6. 5 top spin, 1 left spin. This can be played with a wind 4 and wind 5 ball. So if you don't want to spend a paid ball, you can use a Centurion or a Kingslayer or any other that do have side spin 1 and wind 4 minimum. Here I'm looking at that transparent line going from the ball to the ball to be just by the edge of the triangle. It's approximately 1.3 ball if we're going to measure it like that, and we are looking to get this ball up to around 370 to 380 yards. On the second shot on hole number 9, we are going to do a fringe check where the fringe meets the green. And we can play this shot with B52 level 5 plus, as it is a rough bump, then we're not relying that much on the ball guideline. 1.6 top spin and 1 right spin. Half of the red ring outside the rough to be on the fairway with the ball guideline to go through the hole. Adjustment here now, we do have the +1 as a base. And the +1 as a base is going to be 76% slider with a 25% elevation power 3 ball settings, and then we're adding 0.1 from there. So if it would be +3 fringe check, for an example, we would still do the 76% slider, but we are then adding 0.2 to that adjustment. Perfect ball, and this is going to be a very good chance, as it is a straight crosswind. Over or under adjusting or hitting a great ball will not be any problems whatsoever, and the reason for that is that we once again have a straight crosswind, and the rough is perfectly aligned with that. Hole number 9, good chance in my opinion. This shot can be played with a wind 4 ball as well, such as a Centurion or a Kingslayer, for those that do not want to use a paid ball. Get the guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Thank you everybody for watching this playthrough video for Master Division for the upcoming tournament. If you did enjoy the content here, make sure to smash the thumbs up on your way out. Now, last but not least, a massive good luck in the upcoming tournament.